Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Schaffer, and I'm the founder and CEO of Human Factors International. I've been in the customer experience, the user experience field for something over 40 years, and it's been an amazing journey. And I'd like to talk to you about the field, and I'd like to share some insights about what the field is about and how to get into the field and function in the field uh, in an effective way as a career. A lot of people are thinking about what career can I have in the future that I can be done remotely, that is good for the world and that's engaging. And I think UX design is an awesome choice. If you look at the literature today, what you find is that pretty much every thought leader is saying that good customer experience, good user experience is key to companies. And it's become a strategic imperative. Why is that? Because basically we are creating what the future way of being is. Right? When I started in the field, people might get online once or twice a day, check their email. If they were being tortured by technology, it didn't matter. But now we're online all the time. And if our experience is bad, it's terrible. So good experience has become an important objective for companies. Companies are looking at numbers and going, there's a huge value to customer experience work. And this is some Nielsen Norman Group, cool group. So they've done a number of studies showing the value to companies of UX work. Now it's interesting, there's a benchmark, a rule of thumb that we've had for a long time that said that companies needed to have about 10% of their development organization doing UX work. And that's changed. So IBM, right now, IBM is not exactly your cutting edge cool company, right? But IBM in the last 5 years has gone from 1 UX designer to 72 developers to 1 to 8. So there's a massive increase in demand in the field. We're seeing companies go to 1 UX designer to 5 developers. So an enormous increase in demand in this field, and that's going to keep going. So this is a field which, as you think about getting into it, it will give you work for the rest of your life. Let me help with a little bit of language here. So I'm going to be talking about customer experience, user experience design. That is the design work that creates systems, websites, devices, mobile applications. It builds stuff. There is another term you'll hear out there, and it creates confusion. There's design thinking. Design thinking is a way of doing innovation. It comes up with ideas for things, but it doesn't design stuff. And there's another term you'll hear, customer journey mapping. It gets used in different ways, but most of the time it's looking at a current way of doing something and finding ways to make tactical improvements. It's easier to do, and it's sort of like being a secret shopper. You go in and you go, oh, here a customer goes here, they're waiting in line, they hate waiting in line, let me make that better. So we're focused on customer experience, user experience. That is the higher skill, the higher value thing to be in. And it has a huge value. This is an example, HDFC Bank, huge bank in India. We redesigned the mobile app, and they published that, there's like a 72% increase in financial transactions on the app. We got better ratings. I got an award in Chicago. So these are the kinds of successes we have. Sometimes it's internal systems. This is from our staff in South Africa. And you can see here, they're going from 47 screens to open an account. And this is a staff member in a bank, to 14 steps. So it's gone from an hour and 13 minutes to open account to 16 minutes. Pretty cool. Okay. Let me give you a feeling for what this work looks like at the very base. So this is an actual example. It's a website selling a credit card. It's in South Africa. And so it shows the credit card at the top, and it says card requirements. Well, I can already tell it's a card because the card's there. So I could just say requirements. Then it says, please note the following required documentation must be attached at the end of the application without which we are unable to proceed. You could just say you need. Then you have two areas here, identity document, identity, that's like duplicate. And then down here I have radio buttons with nothing selected, picking yes or no, which is just wrong, right? You use check boxes. And so this screen would become something like this, right? So being able to create designs that communicate quickly and easily for people, we're making people's lives easier. So it's a cool field to be in. We're making people not feel like they're stupid. We're making people able to have capabilities to access more of technology's power in their lives. So it's cool from that point of view. We improve the usability, the user friendliness of interfaces. Let me play a game with you. And I'm a psychologist, so I like stuff like this. So I'm going to show you a red circle. And then I'm going to show you another red circle. And they don't look like they're the same size, do they? But they are, I promise. You can put your thumb up. We see things based on relativity. So there's a whole other area of the field where we want to influence how people make decisions, help them make the right decisions, hopefully. And so here's an example where we're looking at a checkout and people were looking at the shipping charges and taxes going, that's a lot of money, and leaving. So how could we make the shipping charge and the taxes look smaller? We put a large number next to them, and then, that now all of a sudden doesn't look like so much money. So we can do things that help people function easily, we make usable. We can also help persuade people. This field is not common sense. And if you approach it as common sense, you will suck in the field. The field is based on science. It's an engineering discipline. It's human factors engineering. And we have to understand how people function. We have to understand what motivates people. There's literally billions of dollars worth of research and models and methods that are there that you need to know to leverage. So just like if you went to a civil engineer and said, I need to build a bridge, and they didn't understand tensile strength and alloys, you were probably in deep trouble for the bridge. If you're going to do good UX design, you need to understand a whole set of things about how human beings function, how we design things well, how we motivate people. If you don't have that, you're not going to do well. And there are a whole bunch of, and you got to really wade through this. There are a whole, like this is a YouTube 12 minutes on how to basically lie to people about being a UX practitioner in a job interview. And that man is a blessing from God, right? Or here's one, how to land a career in UX design with 0 qualifications. Cool. You can fake your way in. And I love this, just came out. Anyone interested to learn a UI UX designing course for free? It's like, if you can't even write a sentence properly in English, it's not going to go so well. So the field is full of this kind of nonsense. And one of the problems for people doing that is the hiring managers are getting to know more and more. This is from a hiring test that HFI created and sells, which is which lets me put people through a questionnaire, and look, we're going, hey, here's somebody, this is random, this is what an undergraduate without training, this is what a UX worker would score, this is what a UX expert would score. Here's the participant scoring just a little better than an undergrad, we would not hire them, right? So you can't fake it so much in the field anymore. You need to be good in the field. I mean, you want a good career, and investing in that makes sense. what are the ways to do it? One of them is a university degree, and I love to see people get master's degrees. And that is a good foundation. It's often a deep foundation. The only thing I worry about is that sometimes when people come out with a master's degree, they know really a lot about what their advisor is interested in. So I had a woman that I mentor, and I met with her. She's like, I want to be UX strategy. Cool. So you want to be a UX strategist? Let me understand what you know. And it turns out she knows a lot about how to design a font, how to design the characters. And that is, it's a thing you can spend your whole life studying how to design characters, but that's not really what you need to do the work. There's also courses, and the HFI courses have this position. They're about having a solid foundation. And so that's saying, this is in just a few weeks what you need to know to work in the field. And it doesn't maybe teach you the philosophy or something like that, but you do have a solid foundation to be able to operate. You know the models, you understand visual, intellectual, memory, motor activity, and the limitations, how to design with that. There are another set of kinds of courses out there that give you hands-on practice. These are cool after you have a foundation from a university degree or from a course that gives you a foundation. Because imagine if you said, I want to learn math, and I'm going to learn math by going into a hackathon and starting to think about maybe, okay, we're going to design this thing, and okay, here's a point. Well, that's not a way to learn math, because you need to know the foundation. It's also not the way to learn UX, because you need to know the foundation. You need to not just go and try to design something and hope something happens. Then there are other places which provide training which is advanced. So you want to know the latest stuff about how you design for voice-only systems, or design for virtual reality or something like that. You want to have a foundation to go to those, and then you go for 2 hours or a week, and it'll make sense. And you're adding on to what you know. And in fact, a lot of the conferences that people go to, that's what those do. And so these are all approaches. You want to get that kind of foundation, though. This is the HFI certification program. And you can get certified without taking any HFI courses. You can just pay to take the certification exam. But these are structured by me to give you what you need. The top ones are about making things usable. And there's a certification called the CUA around that, Certified Usability Analyst. And then there's one which is more advanced. It's related to the Certified User Experience Analyst level of certification. And that has to do with persuasion engineering and strategy, innovation, and working in a large practice. So this gives you a foundation. I think it's a cool approach. And if you go out and you search and you look, like search for job postings and CUA, you'll see that a lot of companies actually ask for that certification when they're trying to hire people for jobs. So this is basically the proof. The HFI certification is by far the largest and the established one in the field, oddly enough. As you get into this field, be clear there is a long learning path and there's a long career path, which is good news. So as you get in the field, you might just be doing usability testing or detailed design, but as you keep working, you'll keep moving up, doing structural design, persuasion, up to innovation, strategy. So you can spend decades getting better and better in the field. You will not be bored in this field, and you can go into particular domains. So you can go into BFSI is banking and insurance and things like that. You can go into medical. If you're in medical, you'll start to learn about FDA submissions and doctors and issues with patients and disabilities. And there are specialties in the field, like there are people that just do accessibility so disabled people can use software, or people who just do cross-cultural design or something like that. So there's a huge path to grow. The last thing I want to mention is that as you get into this field, you should look for a place that has a mature practice to work for. Your first job, don't worry about how much you get paid. The salaries are very good, but don't worry about how much you get paid. This is from a book I wrote on institutionalizing UX. So you want to work for a place that has an executive champion, where they have established methods and standards and tools. You want a place where you will be able to refine your practice and your knowledge. And so there are many, many companies looking for UX practitioners, and you should get a solid foundation and then be selective about where you go to work so that you get stronger and established in the field. So I'm delighted that you're thinking about working in this field. It is an amazing career, and one which you can do pretty much remotely. We're doing it entirely remotely right now. And we've been doing it remotely internationally. We're doing work from India that gets targeted to the US and all that, making all of that work for 20 years. So this is an amazing field to be in, and I hope you pursue it further.